Yeah, we'll see the continuation of transportation in human beings. Okay, so last class we have see how the blood is transported from lungs to the heart, from heart to the all parts of the body, and then again to the heart, and then to the lungs. Right. So we have seen this flow chart of actually this heart is a triangular in shape. For understanding I have put this in a rectangle form, that is four chambered, right? Four chambered to avoid the mixing of the oxygenated blood and the deoxygenated blood. You are having a dividing wall which is called the septum. Okay, and one more thing I forgot to say yesterday, this heart is enclosed in a muscle, right? This outer cover, this is called pericardium, right? This is called pericardium. Okay, this is pericardium. This muscle is made up of a cardiac muscle. We have studied in the 9th standard, right? Cardiac muscle. Okay, so this is enclosed in a muscle called pericardium. Okay, you know that. So the oxygenated blood from the lungs, right, is enters the left atrium, correct? Left atrium through pulmonary veins, right? It carries the oxygenated blood. Once it relaxes, you will get the blood here, right? Once it fills, then the walls open, then it contracts and the walls open and the blood enters the left ventricle, right? From the left ventricle, once it is full, then it contracts, it pumps the blood to the all parts of the body through the aorta. Okay, so this is the main artery. It carries oxygenated blood and it go to the all parts flow into all parts of the organ. Then once the respiration is finished, that is nothing but the energy produced by the reaction between the oxygen and the glucose, right? Energy will be produced, and what is the byproducts? Your carbon dioxide is the main byproduct. So deoxygenated blood will again enters the heart, right? Through the vena cava. This is the main vein into the right atrium. There you will have three cuspid wall, and it enters this, and once it enters the right ventricle, it will be pumped to the lungs again for oxygenation purpose through the pulmonary artery. Okay, clear on this? This is the flow chart of this circulation of blood. Okay, today we'll see the cross section of the heart. Okay, cross section of the heart and how it works, right? Same thing I'm going to repeat with the actual diagram. Okay, so I'm not going to draw. So here okay, so this is your cross section of the heart, right? So now you are thorough with this, right? So through which it enters, where it goes, like this, right? So through the pulmonary veins. So this, they are differentiated this color. This is oxygenated blood and this is deoxygenated blood. It is in the blue color. Okay, so it has four chambers. If you cut the heart, that is cross section of this, you can see all this thing, right? So it has four chambers. This is right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium, left ventricle. Okay, so through the pulmonary veins from the lungs, the blood enters the first where? Left atrium, right? Left atrium. Once it relaxes, it will the blood will enter here, left atrium. Then it contracts and the walls open and it enters the left ventricle. Okay, this walls are present. This wall is a one this main purpose of this wall is to avoid the backflow of the blood. Okay, once it enters, it will close, right? See how means, for example, I'm just showing. So it can enter, but it cannot go like this, because once it push here, it will be closed like this when it is coming from this side. Okay, so it is one way flow, it allow only in one direction. Okay, so this once the left ventricle is filled with this filled with the blood, then it contracts. If you see this, you are having a thin wall here in the upper chamber. These are all thin wall when compared to the lower chamber. These are all thick wall, because here the ventricles will pump the blood, right? It will contract, it will pump the blood. So the here it is thick wall, here it is thin wall. Okay, so once the blood is filled in this left ventricle, it will pump. You can see this. Once it enters through the wall, it filled here and it is pumped. It contracts. When it contracts, it is pumped up, and you can see this. Here it is. Through the aorta, it will move to all parts of the body. Clear? Okay. It will move to all parts of the body. Once it is used up through the vena cava, from the lower parts of the body, it will enter from this side. From the upper part of the body, it will enter from this side. Okay, the used blood, that is after respiration, it is deoxygenated. So the deoxygenated blood will enters the right atrium. So the blood from this deoxygenated blood from the lower parts will enter from this vena cava, from lower body, and through this vena cava from the upper body. Okay, enter this right atrium. It will relax and it collects the blood. Okay, once it is filled, then the walls open. It is a one way flow. Again, you are having three walls, that is tricuspid wall here. It will allow the blood to enter the right ventricle. Once it is filled, then it will pump this through the pulmonary artery. It enters the lungs. Okay, through this it will blood will flow and enters the lungs for oxygenation purpose. Clear on this? This is the cross section. That means we are going to cut the heart into two halves. When you cut this, you can see all this thing inside this. Okay, this is the cross section of this heart. Okay, next we will see same thing. How we are going to present, we are going to see. Okay, this is working of the heart. So oxygen rich blood from the lungs comes to the thin walled upper chamber of the heart on the left side, that is your left atrium. Okay, the left atrium relaxes when it collects the blood. Okay, then it contracts and the left ventricle expands. So once it contracts, the left ventricle will expand, right, and collects the blood, that is so that the blood is transferred to it. When the muscular left ventricle contracts, the blood is pumped out to the body through aorta. Okay, then the deoxygenated blood comes from the body to the upper chamber of the right atrium through vena cava. Okay, when sufficient blood comes, the right atrium contracts and the walls open so that the blood will flow into the right ventricle. From there, the right ventricle contracts to pump the blood to the lungs for oxygenation purpose, because it is collecting the deoxygenated blood. So it pump all the blood to the lungs for oxygenation purpose. So that's in the human body, the blood will enter the heart 2 times, right? Thus in human body, the blood flows twice through the heart, which is called the double circulation. Clear on this? Okay, thank you.